Ah, the sweet sound of super late models roaring through the lush green hills of Brazelton, Georgia. That can only mean one thing. It's time to drop the hammer with big cash on the line as the late model eSports series roars into Lanier Raceway for its debut event. You're going to see it live right here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jason Galvin. Great to have you with us here on this Monday night. Nick Schmeg next to me tonight here in the booth. Behind the scenes, our director is no other than John Bon Jovi Ambrose, using cameras brought to you tonight by Dougie Beard. Nick, it's Lanier. It's a short track, but man, is this a fast place for a super late model.
It absolutely is. And Jason, we're just across the road tonight from one of the greatest racetracks in the world, Road Atlanta. However, tonight we turn our attention to the vastly different Lanier National Speedway. 0.38 miles in length, moderate banking, and short straightaways leading into wide turns. It's everything you need for a classic, fast, super late model showdown under the lights. Yes, this track is known for its late models, modifieds, street stocks, and legends cars, but fun fact for you all, from 1988 to 1992, what's now known as the NASCAR Xfinity Series even raced here with names such as Darrell Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, and Bobby Labonte. If you had a rough Monday today, like so many of us, there's no better way to take out your aggression than to sit back and watch some beating and banging short track action. As we take you down to the track now for the GSRC lap guide to get a better look.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global SimRacing Channel. My name is Brian Yazek and I'll be taking you for a spin around Lanier Raceway in the GSRC SK Modified. Going into turn 3, we're going to be finding the yellow line right here on the bottom, but not try to get too much into the gas to let that rear of the car step out. Right back into the corners, down to the yellow line again. You'll notice from this lap guide that you are pretty much always constantly turning. So it's going to be interesting to see who can save that right front tire and not abuse it too early so they can have something for the end of the race. Once again, find the yellow line, back out into the middle of the corner, right back onto the brakes, back to the yellow line. You can kind of run a little bit up off the yellow line, but not too much because there's not a whole lot of banking up on the top side of the track to save you in case you get a little squirrely. So back down into turns 3 and 4 one more time, kind of split the seam right here, find the yellow line, and you have just completed 4 very quick laps around Lanier Raceway. It's going to be a great race, and the winner is going to be the one who decides that they wanted to save their right front tire the most. This has been your lap guide around Lanier Raceway. I'm Brian Yazek.
This track is so fast that we couldn't even show you the lap guide with a super late model because we didn't want you to miss something going around here. So we went with the SK Modified because, we wanted to slow it down for you a little bit. It's Monday, like Nick said. You're probably a little bit tired from that first day back at work, and you got 200 more laps to get dizzy and have your head spin going around this racetrack here, Nick. It's a beautiful facility. We've already seen the aerials. It looks even prettier with all those super late models out there. Let's talk about some of the keys to this race tonight.
Yes, like you said, we have the very fast super late models. We're turning about 13-second lap times. Not like 20 or 30, 13 seconds. They'll go by in a flash. So a 200-lap race sounds like a lot. It's going to be very strenuous for these drivers, as you see. And another factor to throw in here, along with the open setups, only 2 sets of tires for these drivers tonight.
And they must take those tires in one stop, so it's 2 sets of 4 all the way around. You can't cheat and go with right sides. And a key point on, you cannot take that set inside of 20 laps to go. So if you decide that you want to take your time and maybe save them for the end, and then you get a long green flag run, you might end up handicapping yourself. This race, we mentioned off the top, Nick, it paid some really big money to win. $200, in fact, goes to the winner of this race. The top 10 drivers will all get a payout, and a $25 awarded to the pole sitter if that man can then turn around and win the race, get an extra $25. So up to $250 on the line for the person who wins this race. And something kind of cool, controlled pit stops. We'll talk about that here in just a moment, as well as they're getting ready, I believe, to grid the cars for the field here. And as soon as we do grid this field, then we will go ahead and take you through the starting lineup. Open setups tonight as well. We'll talk to Nick more about that as we go on. But and the open setups always makes things fun. Here's your starting lineup, brought to you tonight by GSRC, and on the pole, and you see that time, 12.851, Alex McCollum. Colin Allman, always tough in the Super Late, starts outside of row 1. Jimmy Mullis in row 2, next to Keith Medeiros, Justin Tremblay, and Andrew Wooten in row 3. Row 4 is Brian Hellman, Chris Canfield with Todd Guerin and Ryan Matthews in row 5. Nick?
Ryan Doucette and Justin Warnier are going to be at 11th and 12th. Row 7 is going to go to Daniel Silvestri and Michael Goddard, followed by Zach Novak, rounding out the top 15. They're going to be followed by the 800 car of Michael Jeans, Brandon Wilkinson in the 56, Jake Watson in the 8, the 00 of Nick Zotner, and the 7 car of Kyle Souza.
Justin LeDuc will start 21st with Joe Lawrence outside. Russell Brown Jr. and Blake Neer bring up row number 12. Jacob Harberts and Logan Powers in row 13. And I believe that Robert Torgerson-Zeke is not racing. I think he's just overseeing. 2 pace laps, we mentioned it. Controlled pit stops. What does that mean? It means you can come in under a yellow and not lose a lap, which is difficult to do here because of how short the track is. If you come in, you do lose your position. You got to go to the back, but you will not lose the lap that you are on. And that makes things interesting. They do that in a lot of big money super late model races these days. I know the Winter Showdown out here at Kern County Raceway Park, where I'm from, will be doing that here in a couple of weeks, and looking forward to that as well. Pace car about to pull off. We are ready to go, and Alex McCollum has control of the field. Green flag, very quickly. We're racing at Lanier, and McCollum in that Fury Racing number 1 barrels off into turn 1 and immediately gets clear of Colin Allman. Be key to see how quickly you want to get down to the inside line here and be able to save those tires. Save will be the key early on in this one as Jimmy Mullis settles in comfortably to second, and it's McCollum out in front. That Fury Ford number 1 leading early on.
The top 6 or 7 or so fairly single file, then you get to 8th on back. You still have double file as we have a couple cars checking up right now. Everyone really high on the nerves here early to start.
200 laps, as you mentioned, seems like it's a long time, but really in the grand scheme of things is not, as they're 3 wide at the back of the pack, and the 7 car is going the wrong direction. That's Kyle Souza, got shuffled up and has gone all the way to second to last right now. And up front, the top 3 starting to pull away as it's McCollum, Mullis, and Allman. And then a little bit of a break back to Justin Tremblay in that 45 car. 5th place right now behind Tremblay is Andrew Wooten, and the top 5 looking comfortable.
Good battle for P6 right now as we see look back through the field. Looks like we have a lot of single file up here still, but everyone putting the pressure on still here early on. It looks like the caution has also just come out.
Our first caution of the night comes on lap number 7. As we take a look around, it looks like Justin LeDuc went for a ride, and he's going to have some damage here. And actually, it wasn't even LeDuc's fault. It was Joe Lawrence. Taking a look at the replay here. And it's going to be the 00 car, Nick Zotner. And almost looks like maybe some netcode contact between Zotner and Lawrence, who was on the outside, sent Zotner around, and then right behind him was LeDuc. And just nothing. In fact, several cars going to pick up some netcode contact from that one.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there, Jason, with the netcode. A lot of contact there that I don't think a lot of those drivers caused at all. A lot of close racing and these fast speeds, and you know, you have a very short track, less than 0.4 of a mile. You know, stuff happens like that all the time. You just got to watch out for it because you never know what's going to happen next turn when you go around the track.
That was a battle for 19th and 20th when that spin happened. So at the back of the pack, but they were a stone's throw away from being in the top 10, which is how it goes at a short track like. And I see that we're already disabling chat of drivers in the race channel. So that's a interesting start to the night. Always fun for a league admin when the first yellow and we've already got controversy.
Well, you know, short track action. You know, if you grew up near a short track and you always went to the races on Friday and Saturday nights, you might have learned a few words in your childhood. So, you know, it's an understandable move.
I'm not allowed to repeat the words that I learned at the short track growing up. Yeah, I do hear them reminding drivers right now about controlled caution as the lights are off on the pace car. You have to be out before 2 to green, or you do not get your lap back because they have to be able to wave you around the pace car. And Alex McCollum has picked the inside line. Leader does get to pick the restart here. So McCollum will take the inside over Jimmy Mullis. Not a lot of time on the restart zone, though. From the second the pace car pulls off to the green, less than 1 second. Green flag, back out. McCollum gets a good jump, though, and Mullis able to fill right in. As a matter of fact, they get single file through the first 5.
That was a really little piece of talent there by Jimmy Mullis. Very hard to do to get down on that inside, and he got around Colin Allman right there really easily, and Jimmy Mullis, one of the best on iRacing course, able to do that so fluidly.
There are a couple of drivers tonight in this field who have the distinguished pro-level license. They're up there with the little black logo, and you know when you get into a room there, you're always, whoa, whoa, watch out. And one of those is the aforementioned Jimmy Mullis, Zach Novak being the other one, running in 9th right now. Trouble! 800 car is around, and a big stack up. And no caution yet, though. Look at that, still green.
All right, man.
There's
Caution
the yellow.
Is out. Caution is out.
Looks like that was Michael Jeans in the 800 car getting turned by Jake Watson in the 88. Hard to tell exactly what happened. 88 was just coming in there a little bit hot, I think. Just a little bit of contact, enough to send the 800 around.
Watson ended up stuck behind Jeans, who towed out of that position, it looks like. Well, Jeans able to keep going. It's just a pop out on my screen as we look live again right now, and there is, and I believe Michael Jeans is going to have to wait for the pace car and go a lap down here. And they're going to wave him back around, rightfully so. So Jeans able to keep going. I don't think there's going to be too much damage there, Nick. That's kind of one of the nice things about this track. You get slowed up so much in the corner that there's not a lot of damage unless you end up, hitting head on and then you end up with some engine damage or something. But generally, you can get away with light contact at a track like this.
Yeah, absolutely. You have very short track, like you said, and the real thing you'd have to watch out for is if you hit that outside wall or you hit another car, kind of a head-on type of collision if you're stuck sideways on a track. But that would require, I mean, we've seen it before in short tracks. I'm sure we might see even a little bit of it tonight. But yeah, it should be no problem for either the 800 or the 88 car there. They'll be able to keep going just fine.
Watson was that driver who had his chat muted, so interesting. He's had a fun night already as he currently runs in the 24th position here. All 26 of our starters are currently on the lead lap, and Justin LeDuc, who had, I believe, some damage from that first caution, has made a pit stop to try to get some of that repaired. So looks like we've got 2 to green, so we should be coming up here on the lights going out on the pace car and getting back to green flag racing. We're on lap 21 of 200 right now, and there go the lights as Alex McCollum has chosen once again. He's going to start on the inside line.
See if Jimmy Mullis can slide down on that inside again, or if he's going to stick on the outside and try to make that work.
JDR graphics entry for Mullis, that beautiful number 40 car. The Fury Ford and the one for Alex McCollum, the hottest name in super late model racing right now. Green's back out, McCollum again, gets shot out of a cannon. And this time, Allman's going to be able to fill the hole behind Mullis and maybe try to take back that second position. Colin Allman started in P2, fell back on the start, and he's going to clear Jimmy Mullis to come out of turn 4 and cross the stripe on lap 24.
Further back, they were 4 wide coming out of turn 4. You look back towards the cars at the 96 of Justin Warner and Michael Goddard able to slip through that. I think that was Brian Hellman, the 36. I might be wrong there. That got taken 4 wide.
Great action all the way through the field right now. The first 5 or 6 cars are single file, and the 2 cars around. Big contact for the 2 as the 15 ran right into him there. It was Andrew Wooten, got hit by Zach Novak. We stayed green. Caution out now. Well, there was nothing that Wooten could do. Wooten got turned as we're going to take another look at it.
And that was pretty heavy contact there that he accumulated there on his left front too with the 03, or no, that wasn't the 03 car. Sorry, that was that the 15
of 15 of Novak, yeah.
Wow.
Wooten got turned by Chris Canfield, and Canfield just turned him. No way to get around.
Fairly significant damage on the front of Novak's super late model as well.
Boy, Wooten did his darndest to drive through that, and he got hit in the worst spot, right on that left front tire with the wheel turn. So you've got to imagine Andrew Wooten's going to have some toe problems on the front of that race car. And you're looking at the 15 now of Novak, and he's got some crinkle-in damage on the hood of that car as well. And that'll be something to keep an eye on, more so from a radiator standpoint. And we do have some cars that have hit pit road. Double O of Zotner, who has some damage. The 56 of Wilkinson is in. The 22 of Michael Jeans, who's already involved in an accident, is in as well. Doesn't look like anybody's taking tires, though, just getting damage fixed. Wilkinson was a very quick pit stop, so I wonder if he just maybe got tapped a little bit somewhere and wanted to make sure. The double O of Zotner is still in, getting worked on.
And Zotner just now pulling out. He's got quite a bit of right front damage from, looks like, some previous contact as well.
Yeah, that 00 car is all sorts of messed up as they get ready to double up. Lights are out on the pace car. McCollum will take the inside, and once again, we'll have to keep an eye on that battle for second. Colin Allman and Jimmy Mullis have swapped that spot on a couple of restarts here.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag back out, and that time not as good of a start for McCollum as Allman on the outside will have a chance to maybe keep up on the quarter panel and will do so. Battle for the lead on lap 32, and now Allman just pulls in. Thought about the crossover maybe, but just too good is Alex McCollum right now in that #1 car. And he's not even, Nick, I've noticed, not even running it all the way out to the wall. Colin Allman is practically knocking the wall over on exit, and McCollum has just this nice, easy line, not getting real close.
Oh, got some trouble in the back here, it looks like. Looks like the 36 car involved. Still
They're going to stay
as of
green.
Now. Lots
Everybody
of
got
contact
straightened
with
out.
those cars.
36 car, Ryan Helm is just all beat up, and now the yellow is out. And we got trouble. Front straightaway, the 3, the 96, Justin Warner. Well, they're still going at it. Keith Medeiros and Justin Warner, I'm not sure if they were still going at it or no. I think Medeiros just was trying to get going. Let's take another look. Medeiros went around, and boy, Warner just drove right into him.
Yeah, Warner drove into him, and then the 3 came back up. Looks like maybe, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Looks like he possibly was trying to save that one.
Boy, those two were beating. I went way back. Those two were beating each other up for a lap and a half. There will be no Christmas cards at all. There's a few cars they almost took with them. Keith Medeiros has been disqualified, and so has Justin Warner from this race. And I would say rightfully so, based on what we just witnessed there. Wouldn't you say, Nick? Nick?
And the 3 was...
Hey, we found Nick. I think we lost you for a second, but don't do that to me. Waving cars around the pace car. Alex McCollum has led every lap of this race from the pole as we come around to be lap 40 this time across. Remember, $25 extra to that driver of that #1 car if he can hang on to win the race from the pole. Nicholas Schmieg is missing in action, my co-commentator right now, so bear with us. Just be me for a few minutes as we get Nick dialed back up. Lights are out on the Mustang pace car, and McCollum once again takes the inside line. Colin Allman, Jimmy Mullis, Chris Canfield in row 2. Then
Green flag, green flag.
Tremblay and the 15 and Novak as the green is back out, and it's McCollum again. Easy to clear Colin Allman, who slides in front of Mullis. And keep an eye on that 83 car. 03, I should say. Chris Canfield. Trip the lens crafters in store for me. And Canfield's got some damage on the left front of that car. And I think that might have just happened in the corner. Canfield was rolling the outside nice and smooth, and now is starting to fall back a little bit. Battle for 7th right now. Tremblay, Doucette, Silvestri is there as well. Ryan Doucette, 77. That Patriot black, green, and white entry. Tremblay gets clear and finds a spot in line as Ryan Matthews rolls the outside on Silvestri. Matthews has bounced that 51 car off the wall a couple of times, but right now holding tight. SMS Sim Marketing Solutions 51 car. So we go back to the front of this field, and it's been all Alex McCollum to this point. And at this point, you almost wonder, how much is he even really pushing it?
Well, I wanted to go up on the roof here and see how much he was pushing it. Got a pretty good view, but I thought I would jump back in the booth here.
Welcome back.
Yes, thank you. The weather outside was pretty nice, but not much nicer here in the booth. Looks pretty clean up front right now, though. You have Jimmy Mullis and Colin Allman playing nicely with each other, and the 15 car there of Zach Novak, despite getting damage, being able to move up into 4th.
It is a unseasonably warm 65 degrees and partly cloudy on this January night in Brazelton. Winds blowing from the north at 9 miles per hour, if you were wondering, although that should play absolutely no role into this race.
Good little scuffle for P7, the 45 of Justin Tremblay, trying to hold off a 2-wide 13 car of Todd Guerin and the 97 of Daniel Silvestri underneath him. And then behind them, the 51 waiting patiently. That's Ryan Matthews sitting in 10th right now. You see the 97 Silvestri still trying to get that spot with the 13. You know, this track isn't super high banked. It's also not super flat. It's kind of right there in the middle when it comes to a lot of short tracks. Pretty average here for a short track in terms of banking, but you can get a little bit of an outside run going, but not much as you see the 13 almost just about get turned there.
Yeah, Matthews got into Guerin. He was ready to go. Todd Guerin moved, to put it politely.
And Guerin still falling back, getting freight trained there with the inside line.
Yeah, that's tough once you get shuffled out like that. And we got a car off the pace. Is a Novak slowing things down. Take another look here.
Oh, he got into it pretty significantly with the 40.
Jimmy Mullis.
Jimmy Mullis.
And Mullis got checked up, and the caution is out now.
Looks like the two car who's currently spun, Andrew Wooten.
Second time
possibly the reason for that caution.
Take another look here, and this is just your good old short track stack up as they get down into turn 1, and like a freight train, Jacob Harbitz got into Michael Goddard, who got into Andrew Wooten, and Wooten never had a chance on.
Yeah, Goddard there in the 37, trying to fit in line. Not quite a full car length there for him. Herberts wasn't giving him any room, and unfortunately for Andrew Wooten, he probably suffered the worst of anyone out of that incident.
Looks like everybody managed to sneak through that without getting any extra damage. Wooten's car was already beat up a little bit from some earlier contact, so nobody.
So pretty interesting. We have a couple new characters up front now that Novak and Molis are back in 6th and 7th after they've had quite the little, friendly banter of professional esports drivers tonight. But we have people like Chris Canfield and Ryan Doucette now 3rd, 4th, and Justin Tremblay has stayed in 5th.
Michael Janus and Justin LeDuc both on pit road, by the way. Both cars that have some damage. Nick Zotner as well. Everybody coming in just trying to get their cars fixed up. Still no takers for tires here on lap 60. Remember, you can only take tires one time. And once again, if you're just tuning in, controlled caution. So what does that mean? It means that you cannot lose a lap under yellow, but you will lose your position. So what does it mean if you're a lap down? Well, it means you won't lose that lap either. So if you come in 2 laps down, you're going to go out 2 laps down. Just fall to the back of that group. As the lights are out on the Mustang pace car, and Alex McCollum will once again take the inside with Colin Allman on the outside. And as you mentioned, Nick, Doucette and Canfield now with a chance to maybe stick their nose in there.
It will be interesting, especially McCollum and Allman. They haven't played with them yet tonight, so they don't know what to expect from them either.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag is back out. McCollum again, a great restart. Allman can slide in.
Allman not with a great restart at all. Got up there just about in the wall. And now he comes back to the bottom.
Boy, Allman took a look. McCollum, it looked like, didn't get out of the corner real well that time off turn. Those 2 cars start to open up a little bit of a gap back to Canfield in 3rd. And Canfield and Doucette stuck side by side, kind of holding everybody else up. Tremblay, Novak, Jimmy Mullis is just trapped on the inside, and they're 3 wide in front of him, and that's not what Jimmy Mullis wants to see.
Ryan Doucette, that green car there on the outside, falling back in the 77, getting absolutely freight trained on that 3rd line. There's a little bit of a 2nd line we were talking about earlier. There is absolutely no 3rd line here, though.
Ryan Doucette was as high as 4th place. He's out of the top 10. He's stuck in 9th. I thought that was going to be behind him. He's going to fall out of the top 10 now. He still can't get down.
And we're side by side for the lead up here as Allman has gotten back down to the inside of McCollum, trying to make it work and trying to clear him. He's got him into the turns, but then McCollum gets that big run off of the turns.
Alex McCollum has led all 68 laps from the pole. Lead change on lap 68 as Allman goes to the front for the first time. McCollum right back under him, though. And as a result, Chris Canfield is creeping up into the battle as well. Canfield's there. 3-car battle for the lead now. Lap 70.
McCollum was trying to do the crossover. He did it perfectly. You see that dotted yellow line, the dashed yellow line down there with the apron. That is fair play. You can go down there, but many drivers choose not to do it unless they're being a little overly aggressive just because of it being so flat. It's so easy to get loose. But look at that closure that the 0-3 car of Chris Canfield has been able to put on these guys racing side by side.
McCollum in the 1, Allman in the 67. These have been the 2 cars that have been the class all night as McCollum slides in front of Canfield, who had to jump on the binders, and then gets back under Allman. These 2 again getting ready to swap position. Woo! Lap 73, boys. There's a contact off of turn 4.
Lots of money on the line. I'm sure these drivers are thinking about that and every little crossover and slide job they're making.
Allman to the front. Allman pulling away now for the first time tonight. Colin Allman is clear and by himself for the lead here at Lanier.
All single file until you get back to 5th place. Jimmy Mullis in the 40 on the outside of the 45 of Justin Tremblay. That is the battle for P5 right now. But other than that, looks very clean up here in the top 10, top 15.
Zach Novak in 4th has also joined that lead battle, and Jimmy Mullis rolling the outside on Trump. You got to imagine if Mullis can get clear, he's going to chase his teammate Novak down as well. And he'll do so. Does he want to close the door? Not yet. One more corner, and Jimmy Mullis is clear into 5th. And look out, leaders. Here comes that number 40 car back on a march towards the front as Novak now is all over Chris Canfield, and it suddenly looks like Alex McCollum, who dominated the first 60 laps of this race, is holding guys up. Here's Canfield to the inside for second.
Canfield down low as Novak is there. Man, he closed that gap so quickly. He can pounce just like that. And these leaders are definitely going to have to keep an eye out for not just Novak, but Jimmy Mullis as well, who is creeping up towards this top 4 bunch to try to make the top 5 bunch as well.
Take a ride with Jimmy Mullis, one of the best on the entire iRacing service when it comes to stock car racing and a super late model. If you're watching this race saying, I want to race for big money on iRacing, I want to race the super late model, Jimmy Mullis probably a pretty good driver to sit back and take some notes from. As Novak to the inside of Canfield, battle for third and put Zach Novak into the third spot. Zach Novak, a man on a mission, up 12 spots from his 15th starting position to third, and him along with Jacob Harberts, who's gone from 25th all the way up to 7, up 18 spots. Caution on lap 83, yellow is out. Jake Watson, 88 car is around in turn 4. Here's another look, and it's contact with Michael Genus in the 800 car. Watson and Genus have both been involved in a few incidents tonight.
Yeah, they were involved in one before. It's they were both involved in the same accident actually before.
That looked like it was all Watson. He just came down on Genus, who was, that's the very definition of being at your door. 88 car takes a loop. No major contact anywhere, though. I don't believe either of those cars will be too damaged. Watson comes to pit road along with the 70 car of Russell Brown Jr. Those are the only takers this time around. And we'll see, do either of them take tires? Oh, Ryan Matthews in as well. Matthews taking, there's your first car to take tires. Ryan Matthews pits from inside the top 10. He was running 7th, and on lap 85, it's Matthews, the first to take tires.
Russell Brown Jr. in that 70 car, another one also taking tires there. Sitting back quite a bit further right now. I'm sure that is going to be a strategy he tries to utilize here still in the first half of this race to try to make up some of that ground.
The drivers waved back around the pace car here. It's like Colin Allman has already declared he will take the inside line on the restart.
McCollum has really, McCollum starting on the outside, of course, on row 1, though. We've seen him 2 or 3 times now make that crossover work where he'll take kind of a really late apex, dive it in late, and try to use the apron and get underneath the 67.
Whoa, I believe we have a wreck under yellow. Did I just hear?
I think so.
We do.
Heard some contact.
They put the yellow back out as Jacob Harberts was on pit road, and let's try to find that if I can.
Silvestri in the 97 was on the apron, I think trying to speed up, and he just kind of clipped the elevation there and clipped the track and hit the inside wall. That might have been the wreckage we heard.
It is definitely what we heard. Silvestri got a big chunk of that inside wall with the left front of that car. Able to keep it going.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag is out. Colin Allman jumps in front of Alex McCollum. We were trying to take a look at that. They did not slow things down, and there's a car on the apron.
That was a 77 who was getting out of the pits when that green flag was waving.
Sometimes you just got to send it. And that time they sent the field. Colin Allman leads Alex McCollum, working lap 91, closing in on halfway. Novak up to third. Jimmy Mullis got around Canfield on the restart, and here comes Michael Goddard from 14th to 6th. Goddard inside of Chris Canfield, a battle for 5th position.
And I don't think it's going to end there. I think Justin Tremblay in the 45 wants that spot as well. He right now is working on Joe Lawrence in the 78. More contact made.
Trouble!
And-
Canfield
All right,
around!
man. Caution is out. Caution is out.
Everybody's stacking up. The caution's out.
For Canfield going around, he got going back very quickly there. Good recovery. He didn't go completely around, just took a little spin.
Boy, he did a great job of keeping it off the wall as well. Trombley just straight turned him.
The 03 was on the inside really deep into that corner because there was some contact made on the backstretch between Kyle Souza and Joe Lawrence. I think he was trying to avoid on his outside, and just another chain reaction we see so many times here under the lights.
Jacob Harbards, by the way, hit pit road and I believe took his tires after driving all the way up into the... There's another car you can count out from the tire battle. Ryan Helm on pit road.
As we are getting halfway here, if, like you said here, right before the start of the race, you can't take that set of tires in the last 20 laps, so you really don't want to get to the last 30, 40 laps and anticipate that we're going to have a long green flag run.
When would you take those tires, Nick? When is too soon? How late would you wait?
I think it depends on track position a lot of times, because if you're in the back, you might as well take them early. You're going to be in the back anyway. You're not going to lose much ground. But if you're one of these leaders, man, that is such a tough call, because you don't want to come in right now. It's someone like Colin Allman or Alex McCollum, who's been up here the whole race. You don't want to give up that lead, but it all depends on who comes in the pits and follows you. It's
All right, man.
such a tough call, but you got to do it as late as possible, I think.
They'll delay the green for one more lap, so the lights went out, they come back on. Here's the thing that I wonder about when it comes to maybe waiting too late, is if you're Colin Allman or Alex McCollum and you wait until, say, 50 to go, and you're the last two cars onto pit road.
Yeah,
you've got fresh tires, but you've also then only got 50 laps to get through the field from the back. And right now there's 23 cars on the lead lap still. I don't care how good your car is, you're not going from 23rd to the lead in 50 laps.
Definitely got to keep tabs on the other drivers, especially those two in row 2, the 15 and the 40 of Novak and Mullis. They are looking to pounce on this restart.
Lights are out.
This race at the line.
Green flag.
Lights are out, and the green is out, and Colin Allman back to the point, and we are halfway here at Lanier, the late model eSports series in the Lanier 200. And $200 on the line for the winner of this race. Alex McCollum has already taken home $25 by virtue of his pole, and if he were to win, he'd get another $25 bonus. So he'd walk away with $250 if he were to win this race. And Allman and McCollum open up a pretty big gap over. Don't look now. Jimmy Mullis back up to the 3rd position after getting shuffled back 50 laps ago after that contact.
That was a great restart there from the one of Alex McCollum. He didn't stay up side by side with Allman like he maybe could have. He had the speed to definitely stay up side by side, and we already have a caution already again.
2 car. The 2 car is around. It's Andrew Wooten. Wooten has not had the smoothest of. Take another look at it.
Looks like he was just heavy under braking in the 31 car. That was Logan Powers. Maybe also had a little bit to do with that one.
Powers and Blake Neer had some contact right in front of Wooten, and Wooten just kind of nowhere to go.
Yeah, Wooten was hard on the brakes, and you can mash the brakes here in the super late models, but when you're trying to come into a corner entry, car generally does not like that.
Still 95 laps to go, and Sieg Torgerson just pointed out that on the race chat to the drivers that there are some drivers now at the back of the field who are on fresh and also who are pretty quick. So you got to have some patience. You got to look in your mirror and realize that when guys come who were in the top 10 and have fresh tires, is the smartest thing is probably not to pull down in front of them and jump on the brake pedal.
But there's so much money on the line.
That there is.
It is a hard thing to weigh out. You know, the first 106 laps here have gone by so quickly, and you are trying to get into that top 10, break that prize pool, and patience is key, but too much patience, and you're going to find yourself outside that top 10 within the next 90 laps. Still no takers from the majority of the leaders. Everyone, Allman, McCollum, Mullis, Novak, and Goddard,
All right, man.
top 5 right
Like
now.
you back on the pace car. We're not going green this time. We are not going green.
Once again, having to delay the yellow one lap to get everybody back on the lead lap. Looks like Todd Guerin took tires that time around. Justin LeDuc as well. Logan Powers came in. Here comes the 83 car, the 13 car of Guerin. And by my count, the highest running car on tires is Ryan Matthews. He's in the 12th position. We've seen him in the top 10 in this one.
Yeah,
Jake Watson has tires. Silvestri has tires.
Matthews is fast. He started 10th, and we've seen him further up
Green flag,
just
green
outside
flag.
the top 5 as the green flag will come back out here.
Colin Allman jumps right out in front.
Really
Alex
bad start
McCollum,
for Novak.
and Here's Jimmy Novak having to defend, and here's Michael Goddard. Goddard to the inside of Joe Lawrence, who's up 16 spots in this
All right,
race.
man, caution is
Caution
out.
back
Caution is
out on lap 111.
I think the
Jake Watson
88.
again.
Yeah.
Watson got some help. That's the 97. Daniel Silvestri. Cars on fresh tires. Case in point.
That was the 97 of Silvestri getting in the back of Jake Watson, like you said there. Just a little too eager at the start, and Watson was turned around completely, did a 180 facing backwards, but most of the field had gone by at that point.
Again, everybody gets away with it, and that's the one thing I'll say so far in this race I've been impressed about here with this late model eSports series, Nick, is that there are 26 cars that took the green. The only 2 that are out of the race got booted because they kept wrecking each other under yellow. And 1 car is 3 laps down, and Ryan Doucette, who was getting some damage fixed. So we started 26 cars, and 23 of them are still in the lead lap with 87 to go. That's pretty darn impressive. And yeah, some of them might look like they just got out of the demo derby at your local county fair, but they're still.
And like you said, just the only drivers that have exited the race so far have been booted by race control. Race control giving warning to a couple other drivers as well to calm down and try to make it to the end as well.
Because the 2 involved in that incident, Silvestri and Watson, have both been sent to the back after that incident, I believe. Watson has. Silvestri's still in his spot.
So coming to 85 to go, and everyone up front. McCollum hasn't really had much time to put much pressure on Allman. When it comes to these restarts, let's say he is able to duck down on the inside. They get sorted out behind him with Novak and Mullis, and that's usually when the caution will come out. That's the last couple, 2 or 3 cautions. That's what we've seen the last couple green flag runs. So I think that 1 car has quite a lot of speed there. Just
See
needs
that?
a big break.
So that camera work there, the Dougie Beard camera looking at the inside of Zotner's car and trying to give away what his rear spring setup was, I think. I don't know if he'll be very happy about that.
Green flag,
Pace car's
green
off,
flag.
green flag is back out. Colin Allman again out to the point with McCollum settled in behind him, and here's Mullis. Mullis to third around his teammate Novak. Those 4 cars, safe to say, have been the best in this field since about lap 40 or so. It's been those 4.
It was an aggressive start for the row 3 drivers of Goddard in the 37 and Lawrence in the 78. And now you see Chris Canfield, who we saw up front quite a bit earlier there in 7th place, trying to get up there and fight with them as well. These is getting a bit squirrely. He's got Justin Tremblay behind him. He doesn't want to lose that position when he's trying to fight up, make up some more ground.
Russell Brown Jr. had to come to pit road.
Oh, and the 45 is going to go around, and this is a lot of stack up here. Heavy contact with the 2-car.
Just saying, Russell Brown going to lose a lap as the caution comes out. Tremblay got a little help. Kyle Souza. Looked like Tremblay got a little loose, and Souza got into him. And then it was all heck. Brandon Wilkinson's going to have some damage. Oh, big.
Daniel Silvestri.
Yeah, Silvestri plowed into near. That's some heavy contact.
And Wooten got a lot of Tremblay there when Tremblay was sitting up on that backstretch.
Let's take another look with Silvestri. Daniel Silvestri's had a pretty quick race car. We saw him drive up into the top 10. Took tires and just there, huge contact with Blake Neer.
So again, just not enough time for these guys up front to try to make a run at each other, so it's still Allman leading this thing.
I am really surprised at this point that we have not seen one of these two guys up front, or really, maybe more so, somebody like Zach Novak hit pit road, because we keep having these cautions come out and it's just chunking laps away where we're not racing, so you're not making up any time. So if you're somebody like Novak and you hit pit road, you get a restart and you pick off 3 or 4 cars, you get a restart, you pick off 3 or 4, and all of a sudden you're in 9th place. Those leaders come in, you cycle up to 4th or 5th on fresh tires, and they're buried at the back. I'm really surprised that nobody up front has made that move yet.
There are a lot of different strategies going into this race, but if you're up front, you know, if you keep getting these short runs, you know, it'll work. But like you said, for only so long, because these guys in the back, like Ryan Matthews, he's been slowly creeping his way up. He was 12th in the last start, and then 10th. Now he's up to 8th.
Green
So
flag,
you know,
green
who knows
flag.
if we have the green flag back out once again here at Lanier.
It's Colin Allman back in front of McCollum. And Mullis and Novak still side by side, the team. And Novak opens the door for Joe Lawrence in the 78. Have not spoken a lot of Joe Lawrence in this one, but that black, red, and white car is on a mission, and that Ford is up to 5th and working on Novak. A battle for 4th. Caution again. I don't see it this time. I'm looking. I do not see anybody around.
I don't either as of yet.
The 77 of Doucette was off the pace for a second, but I see no incident, I should say. And some takers. Takers on pit road. 03 is in. That's Chris Canfield out of the 8th position. Keep an eye on the SMS car. Comes around in turns 3 and 4. Will it go up on jacks? That's the question, and you would imagine yes. No other reason to come in from the 8th spot. I think this is a good move by Chris Canfield as that car comes to a stop and the crew goes to work on the 03. Right side's in the air, so Chris Canfield taking his 4 tires with 71 laps to go. That is the highest running car left in this event. That has taken tires, I should say. So we take a look inside the chassis of Canfield in the right front.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a good strategy call from Canfield because we have about 70 laps left. We do have a couple of guys with fresher tires than others on the track right now. Like we keep mentioning, Ryan Matthews in the 51. He's up to 7th now with Canfield coming in. But if Canfield can stay out of trouble, that's going to be the key to the rest of this driver's race because Canfield, he's got the tires. I think he may have perfectly timed it. He's just got to get back up front and stay clean.
Canfield will be fun to watch on the restart here. Was in the 8th position when he came in with 71 laps to go as he gets waved back around the paint. Canfield cycles back to the lead lap.
Another good reason that was a good call for Canfield is because he was battling up front quite a bit and fell back significantly, kept losing ground, so tires were definitely wearing out on that 03 machine.
Chris Canfield's quickest lap in this race, 13:31 as the green flag comes back out.
A really good start from Mullis. This is going to dive to the inside and take second.
Alex McCollum not used to being in this position. Out of the top two. And here comes Jimmy Mullis. The battle rages on for fourth, and Joe Lawrence inside of Zach Novak. Ryan Matthews, who does have tires, is all the way up to sixth by. But keep that in mind as things cycle throughout the rest of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, that 15 of Novak not giving the 78 of Lawrence much room. Lawrence doesn't need that much room. Still fast underneath the 15 of Novak.
Contact. Yeah, Novak and Lawrence go at each other.
That's going to allow the 51 to put his nose in there as well.
Boy, Matthews, and here comes Harberts as well. Jacob Harberts also has tires. So two cars on new tires. I won't say fresh. I shouldn't even say new, I guess. They're probably 50 laps old at this point, but certainly much better than 137 laps old. And contact, Novak gets shoved. Tried to shut the door on Harberts and gets booted out of the way, and Goddard gets around as well. And Zach Novak going the wrong direction, all the way back to sixth place in that 15 car. Boy, Zach Novak gets the save of the race move there.
He's got the black stickers on his car for the reason. And that shows it right there. The Novak able to wheel that car and not even get stuck on the outside and left to hang dry. Not at all. He's able to get that back down to the inside, file himself in line, and only lose really a couple spots. That was back to 8th.
That was just a great save. It was a battle for 10th, and that's Silvestri with all that damage on the 97 and Blake Neer, who got the damage from as he ran into him in a checkup under yellow. So that's a battle for the 10th position right now. And Silvestri's also on new tires. Newer tires, I should say. By the way, checking back in, caution is out. Who is it all? Canfield's in it. Canfield is in it with Wooten. He took the gamble to get the tires, and you said he had to stay clean, and he could not. So we take another look at it. Heartbreaking.
Yeah, Canfield pushing really hard, got a piece of the wall. Came down into Wooten just a little bit there, I think.
Just kind of a racing deal. I'm not sure Canfield will have a ton of damage, but any work that he'd done to get back to the front is another look from Andrew Wooten's on board. More cars heading to pit road, and Andrew McCollum's one of them. Alex McCollum, I should say. McCollum, the pole sitter, to pit road, and he brought Joe Lawrence with him.
I think
Michael Goddard in.
Call
Zach Novak in. Brandon Wilkinson, Blake Neer, 6 cars taking tires here. All of them from inside the top 10.
Lots of drivers up here.
Including 3rd and 4th place taking tires. And look at this, boy, Joe Lawrence almost beat Alex McCollum off a pit. So this is now the moment to watch.
Definitely interesting. I think that's a good call by a lot of these drivers. They were, falling back. I think they were trying to time it perfectly, just like Canfield was. And since a lot of them came in, unlike Canfield, they're not going to lose nearly as many spots. Still going to lose quite a bit of ground. McCollum back to 16th right now.
I wonder at this point, Nick, do you think maybe that Jimmy Mullis and Colin Allman are both saying, we're not taking tires, we'll stay out?
Yeah,
50 laps to go by the time we go back green. You wonder, when are you going to pit? Now that the car's right behind you, now that you know that cars like McCollum and Novak, who are certifiably quick, Joe Lawrence, their top 5 cars, have fresh tires and are going to have probably picked some more cars off. you've put yourself in such a hole that I think at this point, you're just gambling on, I'm not going to pit at all, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And they may not have known that that was going to be their strategy. But now that so many guys like McCollum, Canfield, Novak, Neer, Watson have all pitted, it would really hurt them if they came in the pits right now. They'd lose all that track position, and everyone else would stay out as we go back green.
Daniel Silvestri, big wiggle on the restart. It's going to allow everybody to get single file in the top 4. And by the way, Jacob Harbert and Ryan Matthews in 4th and 3rd. The blue car of Harbert's the white of Matthews as we got contact at the back. And a car sideways is the 27 of Justin Leduc. Somehow kept it going right in front of all those cars that just took tires. Boy, that was a big moment for Joe Lawrence. And Leduc gets sent again by Lawrence. Around he goes. Yellow is out.
That was a rough little green flag stint for Justin Leduc, the Carolina driver.
If you've ever wondered what it's like to be a ping pong ball, Justin Leduc's going to write the autobiography on it after that one. Started with the 800 car. Michael Genus started to turn him. Leduc kind of saved it, got stacked up, and there's Joe Lawrence on those new tires trying to keep up with Alex McCollum, who had already gotten through, and Leduc didn't want to give up that spot, and Joe Lawrence said, no lift.
Yeah, he had it saved with the help of other drivers, you know, kind of coming through and pointing them in the right direction inadvertently, but then the second tap there, you know, that was what really got him. He didn't have the help with the other cars behind, the other traffic to get him straightened out.
Well, and I tell you what, Alex McCollum, you talk about a restart. Alex McCollum is back up to 9th place. Wow. And I'm trying to go back and see where did he restart. He restarted in 15th, so in 3 laps, McCollum picked up 6 spots and distanced himself from Joe Lawrence as well. So now he's got nobody behind him with super fresh tires, and he's already picked off a bunch of spots. And again, no pit road for Colin Allman, no pit road for Jimmy Mullis, and I do believe at this point those 2 drivers are committed to staying out the rest of this event. Of course, in 20 more laps, they won't be allowed to take tires. They're the only 2 cars, by the way, without tires. The front 2 are the only 2 cars that have not taken tires. They started in 2nd and 3rd. They've both been in the top 5 all race, and the only reason they haven't been in the top 3 all race is because Jimmy Mullis got sent on a little bit of a ride early on, as you recall. Nick did a great job saving him.
Yeah, at this point it would really hurt them unless we had a major incident.
Like to back out
you know, for them to come in and hit.
We are not going
I'm sure they're clicking down through their relative box right now, looking to see where McCollum made up spots on that restart. And I'm sure they might be a little bit nervous of that one car and the speed that he already had, let alone with fresh tires.
43 laps to go when we go back green. If you're wondering about what these drivers are racing for, how about $200 for the win, 75 for second, 40 for third, 25 for fourth, and 15 for fifth. If you don't think those last couple spots in the top 5 matter, how about a jump from $75 to $15 for 4 spots? Green flag back out. Jimmy Mullis sleeping. Battle for second, and just like that, Ryan Matthews slides into second spot for the first time in this race under the pro driver Jimmy Mullis. It's Matthews, and he'll clear Mullis, the 51 to second. How about that?
A lot of drivers trying to slide it in and get on the brakes later and later every turn here. They're trying to really dive underneath each other and get real aggressive here. They got to keep it clean though, with still 40 laps to go. About Harbert's in the 80 car really pushing hard right now. They're 4th for looking for 3rd place right now.
And here comes Silvestri and Powers, and then Alex McCollum. McCollum under Powers. McCollum's up to 7th, working on 6th. He's got him. Alex McCollum, that Fury Race Cars, number 1, the pole sitter, up to 6th position. He's got 40 more laps to get to the front. And the 800 is around. He's going to save it. No, he gets clobbered. That should bring out a yellow.
Caution is out.
Michael Genus, again, has spun more than a fidget spinner in this race. This time gets a little help from Joe Lawrence. So again, Lawrence trying to get back through the field hasn't had the best of luck. Genus locked the brakes up and got hit pretty good there. Looks like it was Ryan Helm who got into him.
That's another one of the chain reactions. Well, this chain reaction kind of happened on that outside lane. We've seen a few on the inside and a little more room to work with for oncoming traffic here.
Well, and I wonder now, if you're McCollum, pardon me, Allman, you can't pit, but I wonder if Jimmy Mullis, who has now slid back to 4th and looks up and sees Alex McCollum will start behind in 6th. If I'm Jimmy Mullis, maybe now I do come to pit road and just try to use those fresh tires to salvage anything that I can.
You definitely could, but so little time left right now is the problem. It's such a big risk. I mean, we haven't seen too many green flag runs except for a few towards the beginning of this race, but
yeah, he was sliding backwards. So he went backwards to cars that pitted 70 laps ago.
Yeah.
Now you look in your mirror and you see the 1, and here comes the 73, and those cars are on new tires. You know, their tires are less than 10 green flag laps old. And I think they're going to be coming in a hurry. But it looks like, again, Mullis. Look, if anybody can make tires work for 200 laps, it's Jimmy Mullis. There's no argument there.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, Colin Allman is up front, and Jimmy Mullis is going to be outside row 2 here on the restart, which is a good spot to have him there. But he's got Matthews and Harberts, who were looking more and more aggressive on that last restart, definitely looking to make up that spot. But he hasn't had Matthews to his outside yet, so it's going to be interesting to see what Matthews chooses to do here. He does have newer tires than some, but like you said, can't really call them new, just not very aggressively used yet.
Lights are out.
Green
Ford
flag,
Mustang
green flag.
pulls off. Green flag. Colin Allman. And he's got a visitor in Ryan Matthews, who I think clipped the wall. Matthews had a great restart, caught a piece of the wall, and it cost him as Mullis now tries to hold off Harberts. Battle for 3rd, and keep an eye on the 1 of McCollum to the outside of Silvestri. Alex McCollum just searching for a way to get around as he's on the outside of Silvestri, and that's a battle for the 5th position. Mullis doing a nice job hanging tight with Harberts.
Oh, there goes the 1.
McCollum!
Caution is out. Caution is out.
Heartbreak for the pole sitter.
Huge damage on so many different cars. Just a junkyard right now on the front stretch.
Boy, and McCollum, he got into the corner, and it's like he got loose or something, and then he turns down into Silvestri, and he had to check up, and Logan Powers just nowhere he could go. I think Alex McCollum was the cause of that incident. Maybe sensing time to go, and he started it, and then, boy, you talk about junk behind him. Todd Guerin, Michael Goddard. Whew. The 88's in it again.
Lots of fast cars, too. Lots of fast cars that might not have been contending for a win, but those payouts that are all up in the top 10, you got some new names up there looking to steal some of those cash prizes here at the end of this thing with that big wreck there.
Mullis and Allman are staying out.
All right. It's working for Allman so far. I mean, he hasn't really felt, the pressure from anyone behind him yet. So that strategy so far working for him.
Ryan Matthews had a really genuinely good restart and then threw it away by getting into the wall. I mean, he was there and off turn 4, he went with them and everything, and then he looked like he clipped the wall, and as a result, Allman was able to pull back out in the front. So we'll keep an eye on that here. 26 laps to go here at Lanier.
I'll be interested to see what Matthews does on this attempt. He's going to be on the outside of Colin Allman's 67 Super Late Model once again. Race control reminding everyone to give an inch to everyone, but we'll see what
Green
happens
flag,
here as the green flag comes back out.
Boy, and Matthews sleeping that time. Colin Allman pulls clear of Ryan Matthews.
Allman knew exactly what Matthews was going to do. Had to mix it up just a little bit.
All right, man, caution is
and
out.
more
Caution.
trouble. Caution back
Oh
out.
boy, and still
Oh,
parked
part of
in big chunk. Look.
The 78 getting a huge
Boy,
piece
that's
of that.
an intentional wrecking deal. Andrew Wooten just took out Chris Canfield and was immediately booted. And that was, I'm just going to say it right now, Andrew Wooten, that was pretty steep. If you ever run in a league race that I'm a part of, you would immediately be removed before you ever started. That you just don't do that. Under green, and Canfield was still parked when the leaders came back around. And the 78 of Joe Lawrence is just junked because of it. And the 27 of Justin LeDuc, the 800 of Genus is in it as well. But boy, how bad do you feel for Joe Lawrence, who had battled his way back into the top 10 on fresh tires and ends up upside down in towing? All because one driver lost his diapers.
And in front of the whole field, too. I mean, that could have affected so many other drivers' races, too.
I cannot tell you
it,
that Andrew Wooten, that it's a shame this wasn't an official race, because he'd be getting a visit from the iRacing gods, and that would be a long break.
We had guys like Mullis and Matthews on the outside there, really close to him. I mean, just about ended their races as well.
21 laps to go.
Either way, it's going to be another attempt here for Matthews. He's had a couple attempts here on the outside of Allman. Allman knows what he wants to do. Matthews knows what he wants to do. It's going to be really interesting. Two of the best in this race tonight. Going to try to go at it head-to-head here on the restart with just 20 laps to go.
Nobody can take tires from this point on. Of course, the only two cars that still could are the leader, Allman, and Mullis in fourth. And frankly, they weren't planning on it. Ford Mustang pace car rolls through turn 3. He'll make a hard left. The green flag will come out almost immediately. Colin Allman drops the hammer. Green is back out. He stacked the field up. Boy, Matthews got ahead. Allman kind of backed him up, and that's hard to do here. Matthews under attack now from Harberts.
Harberts just about gave Allman a shove.
14 was around. He saved it. We're going to stay green. Stay in green. That was a pretty good save by the 14 of Blake Neer as Harberts clears himself into second. Comes Silvestri in the 97.
Matthews and Mullis are really stuck right now. Silvestri underneath them, just about 3 wide.
Zach Novak in the 15
really
using the apron. On the apron. Novak now the highest running car with newer tires.
He doesn't know how many more green flag laps he's going to get. He wants to take advantage of every single turn, and he is doing just that, using every inch of the track.
I think in a perfect world for Novak, he's going to get to the top 4, and then a yellow comes out, and it gives him a shot at the front row on a restart, but he's running out of time to do that. Novak's up to 7th. Colin Allman is checked out for the lead, by the way. It's up to a half a second on Jacob Harberts. Battle for 4th.
And Mullis making a lot of contact in that battle for 4th. And that's the 7 of Souza. Kyle Souza, he's had a pretty quiet race. Sitting there in 6th, fending off Zach Novak to his right rear right now, trying to wait for something to happen in front of him.
Novak trying to go to the outside on those newer tires, unable to do so. Now he's up to Souza's bumper. Problem is Novak's going to get to his teammate Jimmy Mullis and have nowhere to go. 12 laps left in this one. Colin Allman is trucking away at the front. Silvestri and Mullis, a little contact again. Souza wanted to sneak in there 3 wide, thought better. Brandon Wilkinson in the 56, haven't said that name a lot. There's a driver who's awfully familiar with the short track racing world and iRacing, had a lot of success. He's worked his way up into the 8th position. More contact, Silvestri and Mullis.
Man, Souza is under fire right now from Novak. Novak gonna peek to the outside now and try that lane as well. Wasn't having much luck on the inside of the Kyle Souza's number 7, but Man, Silvestri doing a great job on the inside, but how about Jimmy Mullis on the outside? He gonna work the 97th minute go around.
Trouble! Silvestri with 8 to go. Will the caution come out? Still waiting. Still green.
We're green.
Back to the front we go with Allman. Caution will not come out with 7 to go this time.
It's still Colin Allman up front by a huge gap.
Novak to the outside of the 7 of Souza.
All right, man, caution is
Caution!
out.
And now the caution.
6 to go. And I think did Novak have Souza is the question. That's going to be big for Zach Novak if he did. I had to take a look. I think Blake Neer might have been in it. Silvestri is also back there.
It looks like... I don't know about the caution, but I do know it looks like Zach Novak did get Kyle Souza at the line. Or
Car blinked out. It's Zotner. Nick Zotner spun and then blinked out for a second, the 00, and he got some help from the 37 of Michael Goddard.
We've seen Blake Neer run up front, you know, later part of the top 10, earlier part of the top 15. It's been about where he's been running, but unfortunate end for his night here, it looks like.
Yeah, the 00 spun and blinked, so I'm not sure we'll get a replay of it. He was out for a pretty long time. And Colin Allman, the leader. I'm not sure we're going to get a restart here. Race control's talking like it might be over. Working lap 197 now. Keeping an eye on the pace car. It'd be nice if the lights go out this time. The lights go out this time, and we'll get a green-white checkers.
If they don't, we should still get a one-lap shootout, too, I would believe.
Survey says they're still
not
on.
yet.
Maybe a one-lap shootout. Boy, you get a one-lap shootout. Hold your horses.
Then what does Harberts do on the outside, and what does Matthews do from row number 2 on the inside?
Got Zach Novak in
fifth. Yeah.
No lift. I think we are.
Race control saying there's
We're
going to
get a one-lap shootout. Check the pace car. They double.
All right.
Lights are out. One lap.
Oh boy.
For the money. Here we go. Pull those seatbelts nice and tight, boys. Less than 0.4 of a mile for $200. Pace car pulls off. Allman, Harbits, front row green. Allman goes right away. Forget about this one. Colin Allman clear to the lead. Harbits, will he get a chance off of turn 2? I don't think he's going to be close enough. Battle's going to be for third. Allman off of turn 4. Give it to Colin Allman. He wins the late model eSports race at Lanier.
Harberts is going to be second. Matthews just edges Jimmy Mullis at the line, and Novak is going to round out the top 5.
What a race that was.
Wow.
A great finish. Way to keep it clean for those cars up front. We could have easily just junked a bunch of cars with the amount of money that was on the line from 1st to 5th, and instead everybody kept it clean. Colin Allman celebrates. We'll take a break and be back and hopefully talk to some of the drivers here at Lanier. Welcome back to Lanier and the green hills that you can't see anymore because the sun is down here in Georgia. I'm Jason Galvin, and it has been so much fun to bring you this race with Nick Schmeg. Colin Allman gets the win here at Lanier, and I'm looking to see if Colin's here. Colin might be the one guy that we're missing right now as we roll through the race results here. Colin Allman wins the $200, followed by Jacob Harberts, Ryan Matthews, Jimmy Mullick, and Zach Novak, your top five. Kyle Souza, Brandon Wilkinson, Jake Watson, Alex McCollum rebounded to 9th after those incidents, and Logan Powers comes home in 10th. Nick?
Justin LeDuc is going to be in 11th after that night. Michael Goddard saw him with quite a race, along with Michael Jeans. What a race for him. He's still going to get a top 13 out of that. Great effort for him coming from 16th. Brian Helm and Russell Brown Jr. are going to round out the top 15, followed by Todd Guerin, Daniel Silvestri with the late spin there, Blake Neer, Chris Canfield with a heartbreaking finish to his night, and Nick Zotner rounding out the top 20.
Ryan Doucette in 21st. Speaking of heartbreak, how about Joe Lawrence all the way down in 22nd after running in the top 5? Andrew Wooten, Justin Tremblay, Justin Warner, and Keith Medeiros, the last 4 cars being the only 4 that did not finish this race. Zeke Torgeson's the race admin there in 20s. All right, let's talk to the $200 man. Colin Allman wins tonight at Lanier, and he joins us now here in the booth. Colin, that was a wild, wild race to watch, but talk me through the strategy behind not taking tires. You and Jimmy Mullis, the only 2 drivers that went all 200 laps on one set. At what point in this race did you know, I'm not taking tires?
I guess it was about halfway. I was just riding. I wanted to get to the lead just to how many cautions we had. So I raced Alex pretty hard on that restart. Was able to get the lead and kept it. I figured about lap 120 was going to be the time that I wanted to take the tires, but with how many cautions we had tonight and how wild the race was, I didn't want to give up track position for the tires, and it paid off. Tires didn't really fall off much. I mean, on the restarts there, I was still running 13:20s while my fastest lap of the race was a 13:19, so it didn't fall off too bad, and luckily cards play out right, and we were able to come up with the win. Even with that one lap shootout there, that was pretty intense.
Crazy at the end there. I show your last lap being a 13:32, and as you said, your best lap a 13:19. So no real fall off on the tires with those short runs. What were you thinking when you saw we were going to get that one lap shootout with all the money that was on the line, knowing that you just had to get around one more time? Did you trust that everybody around you was going to be as nice as they were?
No. To be completely honest, I knew I had to nail the restart, and luckily I did, and they didn't time up the restarts. I was able to mix them up a little bit and keep them on their toes, and was able to come out with the win tonight.
Colin, congratulations. What are you going to do with that $200? You going to Disneyland?
I'm going to save it. Broke college student. I'm going to keep it in that bank account.
That is an excellent answer. Colin Allman, what a drive. Congratulations, my friend, on taking home the $200 and the win here tonight.
I have caught up with Jacob Harberts down in pit lane. Jacob, that was a heck of a run. We talked about you a lot tonight, definitely towards the end of the race, but what we didn't mention enough of, or didn't give you enough credit, you started 25th, and you're still going to be taking home the $75 in second place.
Yes, sir. I didn't have too much time to warm up. I was actually at work earlier and happened to get off early to make the racing time, and so I just didn't get my qualifying lap because I wanted to, but luckily I won the last chance qualifier and was able to use the one set of tires up to my best ability. I was just kind of pitted a little bit before halfway, along with my teammate Ryan Matthews, and together we just kind of pushed through the field, and everything sorted out for us pretty good.
Yeah, how about that? You pitted on lap 86, I believe it was, and you were the highest finisher on someone that did pit because we had a couple drivers not take tires. How much of a factor did that really become, especially getting late into the race, battling with guys like Colin and Jimmy up here?
For me, it was huge because Colin and Jimmy, they definitely had better cars than me and Ryan. But since we had fresh tires, it kind of helped even it out a little bit. It played really nice because we pit before majority of the field pit, and we still had relatively fresh tires. But then when the other guys in front of us started pitting, we got that track position back up, and so that was really important.
All right. Well, that was a blast to watch you. Definitely the hard charger award, in my opinion, would clearly go to you and everyone at the 80 team. But awesome race there. Congratulations, and we hope to talk to you again in the GSRC booth.
Alrighty, thank you guys.
Ryan Matthews is coming down into the broadcast booth next, and Ryan started in the 10th position, followed his teammate up there, comes home in 3rd, and for all of his hard work tonight, will take home a cool $40 as well. Ryan, actually looked like you were in a pretty good spot, not only to finish in 2nd, but you had one restart there where I thought you were going to make a run at Colin Allman. What happened?
Yeah, we had a good car. Definitely didn't. I don't think we had anything for Colin. He was fast and he didn't even take tires. But we played the strategy outright and just followed. Me and Jacob followed each other up through the field and came up one spot short. But it was a fun race.
Talk to me about what it's like to come in and take tires and have to fight through the cars here. Your car does not look like it had a very fun race. It looks like it is definitely ready to go to the county fair next week in the demo.
Yeah. We kind of taking tires. We went back to like 20th around there, and just had to be patient and passing on the outside worked out pretty well. Passing the guys with the older tires, but just being patient really played into the favor. But yeah.
Well, congratulations, Ryan. $40 richer. You come home in 3rd place, and that was a mighty fine run to watch you guys come back through the field.
Thank you. I got to thank SMS, Sim Marketing Solutions, and my dad at S&M Auto Service, and the whole Leduc Matthews racing team. Thank you.
That's Ryan Matthews. Nick?
All right. Going back through the field, Jimmy Mullis. He's going to be taking home $25 tonight and a 4th place finish tonight. Jimmy, you didn't take tires in that race. Do you think that ended up hurting you there at the end?
No, not really. Coming into the race, I knew we had a set of tires, but I didn't really plan on taking them. It was all going to be dependent on how many yellows we got, and we had so many tonight. I didn't feel it was necessary because track position was obviously everything. Plus, I knew I had a really fast car, so I figured, if we got a couple long runs, I could get out front and stay there, but I just never really had the long runs to be able to do anything like that. So, fun race overall, but does suck coming home 4th.
All right. Well, you got 4th place, might not be the finish you wanted, but I gotta ask you. I mean, was there a friendly little competition between you and Zach there? Because you did still oust him. You still finish better than him.
I mean, I guess a little bit. Coming in, we were just worried about trying to at least have one of us get to victory lane, and it didn't work out at all. So it sucks, but both of us top 5. It says a lot about how fast our cars were. He pit and was still able to make it back up here in about 60 laps or something. I think he pit around 140. So, hats off to him. I didn't expect to see him again after he pit, but he did a good job coming up through here.
All right. You and him both did a great job. 4th and 5th place in tonight's race. It was very tough. So top 5, nothing at all to be upset about. But great race tonight. Congratulations. Awesome to have you back here in the GSRC booth.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys too. I just want to give a quick shout out to Colin Allman. Glad he was able to get the win. He was the one person that stayed out with me, so it's cool to see that pay off. Also want to give a thanks to JDR Graphics for being on the car as always, and thanks to you guys for doing the broadcast. Good to see you guys again.
Absolutely. All right, that was Jimmy Mullis finishing 4th place tonight, and we've caught up with one more driver. Jason, I believe you've caught up with our 5th place finisher.
And Jimmy Mullis' teammate, $15 for 5th place, and Zach Novak tonight, able to drive back through the field after taking those tires and the 15 car gets $15 for all of that hard work. Zach, your teammate Jimmy was just talking about how he didn't think he'd see you again after you took tires, and I actually thought you might have been the car to beat when we got back down there to the end of the race. We got that caution with about 30 laps to go, and I said, I think that this might be Zach Novak's race. How close were you to being able to maneuver through and maybe get a shot at Colin Allman?
I think I just ran out of time. I don't really think tires were as beneficial as they may have seemed. I just thought, I was running 8th at the time I pit, so I figured, if I don't pit, I'm just going to settle for, a back end of the top 10 finish. So I figured I should just take a gamble, and it paid off. I was struggling there before I pit, and I, made some contact with people, and I kind of tore the right rear off of it, and so I figured fresh tires would help, and we made up a few spots after the tire call, so I thought it was a pretty good idea. And like I said, I don't think they were good enough to go win the race or anything, but I think if it was like a 300 lap race or something like that, maybe, but obviously everybody would have pit in that case. So.
Well, Zach, it was a lot of fun to watch you drive back through the field tonight. Congratulations on coming home.
Thank you. The car was really good. Thanks to Jimmy for putting it together. I didn't really help him much, if at all, on it, but we found some last-second Q speed. He qualified well. I didn't so much, but car was really good on the long run, and pretty much I think it was the only actual long run we got. It was 30, 40 laps. It felt like we had the best car in the field, so that's all props to him. Thanks to him for hooking me up with that, and we showed up with a good car, so I'm just proud of the effort, and proud that we can show up and show we belong.
And that is Zach Novak, who comes home in the 5th position tonight. Well, that's going to just about do it for everybody here at GSRC and the Late Model eSports Series. A big thank you goes out to them here in their debut race. I'd say that was one heck of a show. Organizer Zeke Torgensen did a nice job there as well. Big shout out to all of the companies here that help out the Global SimRacing Channel with software and hardware assets to get us through our broadcast, and you can see a list of them on your screen right now. Also, Eric Ekholm and June Willand provide the wonderful music that you hear here on GSRC, and you can see the information on the screen below on how to get a hold of them and get some of their great work as well. Shout out to Nick Schmeg in the broadcast booth with me tonight, and John Bon Jovi Ambrose doing the directing. I'd say that we were living on a prayer all night, but it's our life. We were doing just fine. A big thank you to everybody at GSRC. You can find out more at globalsimracingchannel.com about the Global Sim Racing Channel. Follow us on social media as well, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And look out for those upcoming races here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Some awfully good ones coming up. The next race for the Late Model Esports Series is going to be at USA Speedway, the Python 250. They say that will be on March 11th. Check out their Facebook page, Late Model Esports, for more information on that event as they post it. And again, you're seeing the other races coming up here. Once again, thank you to everybody that tuned in here tonight. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track. Good night.